Listening to the Cavalier Connection podcast. Here is your host, Jack Lowe.
Welcome. The University of Virginia, your tax layer Gator Bowl champions. We welcome you all into this edition of the Cavalier Connection podcast. I'm your host, Jack Lowe. It's a little bit on the later side, reaching 11 o'clock for those of you watching this live. If you're watching it back later, glad to have you as well. Hitting about 11 o'clock Eastern time. So getting a little late. We're lacking two other hosts in this one. It's just going to be myself, but I can't help myself but to get on here and just react. I mean, get in the comment section if you're in here. Give me your honest initial thoughts and reactions. I want to hear it all the raw emotions. The Virginia Cavaliers, I don't care what you say about bowl games not mattering. The Virginia Cavaliers have won 11 games this season. They cap off the season with a win against an SEC opponent, which is not a lackluster SEC opponent, by the way. The Missouri Tigers getting the victory done and bringing home the Gator Bowl trophy. Wow, what a game. My computer's still waking up, so if we have some buffers, I apologize. We're having some technical difficulties, but we're getting rolling here. Again, leave all your comments down below. We'll get to all of them, any questions you may have. And yeah, man, just what can I say other than go Hoos? It was such a fun one. Hooray is correct. UVA Natskins. Man, so much fun. Wahoo wah. Listen, I don't care how ugly the score may look. I mean, listen, you're talking about 13-7 is your final score. But hey, you get it done. Is the game plan that we wanted to run against Duke? Possible, very possible. Here's the thing: is Virginia? It felt like offensively they dominated. It didn't feel like they did dominate this game offensively. Without a doubt in my mind, they did. They just didn't have points to show it. Now that's between Bettridge missed a kick. We kicked it a couple times when we could have gone for it. Vice versa. Just could not finish some of those drives. But I'll tell you, UVA Natskins hit the nail on the head. Cam Robinson. Yes. And not just this game, but the Duke game as well. When you're talking about the ACC championship game, not having Cam Robinson, I think, is the difference in that game. We saw early in the season, too, against NC State. You can tell the run stopping is just so tough. And, man, talk about a storyline for Missouri. Hardy, whatever his first name is, Hardy, for Missouri, who went off. He had the big, long run at the beginning of the game for 43 yards. And then he comes off the field in that last drive because coach didn't put him in for that third down, or fourth down, which is a strange moment. I can't believe coach didn't have him in. But Virginia without Cam Robinson on the defense, that's an issue. And you talk about filling the shoes of Jonas Sanker from last year, who can make plays. Cam Robinson was that guy this year. And run stopping has been tough without him. But hey, you plug in guys like James Jackson, Maddox Marcellus, who also is not healthy in this one. He didn't play, so, he was, he's a difference maker. Defensive line locked in after that first series. Yes. My dad, Jeff, unfortunately, he's not on with us tonight. He told both of me and Jay, he's like, and we all thought the same thing. It could be a long game, a long game after that first drive when Hardy took that 43-yard rush on us. It's like, uh-oh, this could be trouble. We might be in for a long game. After that, though, I mean, hey, Hardy finished with 89 yards. I got all the stats here. Hey, listen, shout out to my grandparents if they're listening to this. For Christmas, they got me a new printer, which I really needed. So I'm starting to print off stats instead of, using the computer now. I really love it. So I got all the stats here like I would if I was covering the game in person. Hardy finished with a total of 89 yards. 43 of them was on that first rush. Now, he had some big ones. He had the big 3rd and 11 rush. He had, multiple rushes. But outside of that 43-yard rush, you're correct. The defensive line, they gave up 56 yards to Roberts, who was also really good. But overall, we'll get some defensive stats here as well. As far as the D-line goes, I want to get to tackles. Unfortunately, it looks like I don't have tackles for... Oh, I do have tackles for losses. Here we go. So we have... Landon Danley, who's been playing that Mike Lott, he's really been there in that Cam Robinson role. He tied for the team in tackles, 10 tackles, right beside Devin Neal. Antonio Clary was rolling in the box a little bit. He finished with 7 tackles. James Jackson had himself 4. Just overall, the front 7 was huge, huge, and also only 2 tackles for losses. They came from Antonio Clary and James Jackson. James Jackson was big in this one as well. I'm going to get to all of your comments. Just give me a second. Go Who's. That opening drive of the second half was crazy. So glad we beat a mighty SEC team. Thank you, Eric, for the comment. And if you want to comment too, be sure to do so in our YouTube comment section or on the X right here on @Go Who's podcast or the Cavalier Connection. And yes, 2 parts to that. The game changer in this game is that 19-play drive coming out of the second half. Without a doubt, the game changer in this one, without a doubt, is having that 19-play drive. You know how exciting that is? 19 plays. That is outstanding. And you run off 10 minutes of this third quarter. Missouri doesn't touch the ball in the second half. Doesn't touch the ball in the second half until whatever it was, 5 minutes ago in the third quarter. That is impressive. I don't care what you say. And obviously ending it at a touchdown as well was huge. You saw the direct snap a couple times. You went for it on 4th down, I think twice in that series, got it both times. Converted multiple third downs. It reminded me a lot of the drive we had against Florida State all way back on September 26th when, I don't know, it was maybe 15 plays where Virginia ran the ball all but I think 1 play and they just shoved it down FSU's throat. And, and that's so demoralizing for a defense. First of all, you're keeping the defense out there for 19 plays. They're getting tired. They're huffing and puffing. It's tough for them to bring. It's even harder to make big tackles in big spots, as well as, just you're not giving that Missouri offense a chance. You're not even giving them a chance to touch the ball. It's so huge. And to cap it off with a touchdown too, that's like an Army-Navy style where you get Navy to run down 13 minutes and get into the end zone. Like it's incredible. It's outstanding. And yes, a mighty SEC team. Yes, Virginia beat an SEC team. The ACC had a terrible day in the bowl season. ECU beat who played ECU? It was Pitt. BYU won the Pop-Tart Bowl unbelievably against Georgia Tech. And Clemson lost to Penn State. Terrible day for the ACC. Luckily, Virginia was able to get the better end of Missouri to at least get something for the ACC. And yes, 200 yards. They did run the ball a lot with Roberts. And Roberts is a great tailback too. Again, finished with 56 yards. And he had the touchdown, the sole touchdown for Missouri, that first touchdown. But they just, I don't know. Virginia's defense dialed it in. And there were times, let's keep it real. The backup quarterback from Missouri who started today, and you have the controversy at the end too. We'll get to that in a minute. Zellers did not have a great day. He had a great final drive, but overall did not have a great day at all. 101 yards he finished with, 12 completions, no touchdowns. His longest pass was for 24 yards. Nothing impressive. Nothing looked impressive until that final play or that final drive. So overall, Carnley had the interception. The defense was locking down on that. They got to him. They never brought him down, but they got some pressure on him. Also, I want to mention Mitchell Melton. I don't think they gave him a tackle for loss in the stat sheet, but he should have had one. He had a big one in that last drive as well. But Zollers, sorry, did I say Zellers? Zollers was nothing impressive. And I think that kind of makes it almost one-dimensional for Virginia. If you can stop the run, you don't have much to worry about. And that was big. But yeah, Hardy didn't, I don't know. You're right. He carried 15 times. And he had a lot of yards. I wish I had printed off halftime stats because he had a lot at halftime. But after that, he just never, got to it. And he certainly had issues with coach. And this was the big thing, why Hardy was not in for that 4th down. So first of all, I was watching it with my dad. I'm just thinking there's no way they're going to snap this ball because there was a half a second difference between the play clock and the normal clock. And they could have easily just, ran it to the 2-minute timeout. But a couple things. Number one, they came out. Hardy's not in the game. Now, Roberts was in the game, but still, your best tailback was not in the game. And it's like, hold on now. Like, there's no way they're snapping it without their best player in the game. They put a man in motion. I'm like, oh my goodness, they might actually snap this. They run the rollout, and it's just like, what are they doing? They got close. They almost got that. They didn't quite get there, though. So it's like, I don't know what went through the coach's head. I mean, hey, we've had similar conversations with Des Kitchings in the past, but he's the best player on your team without a doubt, and you don't have him even in the game. And the camera showed a replay of him arguing with his coach about why he's not in the game or whatever. And that's another story for another day. I know Missouri beat writers are going to have a lot of fun poking that story on the fact he wasn't in for that play. And even if you have Roberts in the game not running the ball, I'd run the ball. I wouldn't do the play. I wouldn't roll out. I would just run the ball. I get the thought process. You want to have multiple options there. I would just run the ball, even if it's Roberts. But hey, that was their decision. I don't know. But and then again, we talked about it. Where was I going with that train of thought? Hardy. So he sat out. I would have to watch it back at the end. I'm pretty sure he was not in for one play that final drive. Not one play, which is crazy. And I'm sure that's on the player. That's not on coach. I highly doubt that's on coach. He didn't have his helmet on or nothing. He probably sat out on his own. I mean, his final play in a Missouri uniform, driving his Missouri uniform. Didn't even have the helmet on. Was just on the sideline. And, that's what that was. And, again, I care more about the UVA side of things, but I know Missouri beat writers and reporters are going to have a lot of fun with that one. If it was a situation at Virginia, I know we certainly would, but luckily we don't have to worry about that. We got the W. Let's see what else we got here. I do have the comments going for both. We always do, though. And shout out grandparents. Yes, sir. Let's see. And we didn't even have any big plays in that 19-play drive. Yes. Even the entire game. I told my dad this because for those of you who don't know, at the beginning of every week, we have a Minster's Moment of the Week. There was no play that stood out big time. Normally you have, whether it's Cam Robinson pick six or you hit Terrell Harris over the top deep, which he didn't dress, unfortunately. But Eli Wood, by the way, we'll get to him in a minute. He was big time. You didn't have any of those big explosive plays that went for a buckload of yards for a touchdown or whatever. The only one that kind of comes to mind is the interception by Carnley, which was huge in the moment, came after that 19-play drive. You have all the momentum in the world. Clary made a great play in his final game ever in his hometown, getting a hand in that one, tipping the ball up, and Carnley came down with it, which was huge. And, that's the only big play. There was not really many chunk plays. The longest pass of the day for Morris was 35 yards. The longest run was for Whaley. That was 18 yards. But nothing that really stood out. But that 19-play drive, again, like you just mentioned, we're running with Haley. Zay Davis, by the way, I'm happy with Zay Davis. He ran the ball 12 times for 41 yards. He looked good. The ball went to him on a couple third down plays. He's a freshman, so we're going to get to see him, hopefully, if he sticks around, stay in a Virginia uniform. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch over the next few years if he does stick around. He had a great day as we're just looking here. Appreciate all of you for tuning into this one. Again, if you have any comments, we'll get to them in the comment section here on YouTube, the Cavalier Connection, or on X at Go Who's Podcast. Appreciate all of you for tuning in as Virginia got the W 13-7 over Missouri. But yeah, a lot of short plays. And hey, if they're moving down the field, if they continue to get the first downs, I'm happy with it. I don't really care how they get it done, especially if you're burning that time off the clock like that. It was incredible. And yes, Zollers, I'll tell you what, man, I'll give the hats off, man. He looked great. In that last drive, I was very worried. He was kind of moving down the field like it was nothing. And then we could talk about that last play where the refs made him leave. And that's a valid rule. The referees can do that if they're afraid of a head injury. It hurt. I know it hurts him especially. I mean, my God, you drive all the way down the field and you can't even finish the drive. If I'm a Missouri fan, I'd be pretty upset about that. I hate that they couldn't have Zollers in for that last play. They had to go to a walk-on for that final play, which was a great throw, by the way. I mean, Missouri could have came down with that, but the breakup by Devin Neal, it was Devin Neal who broke it up. He got a hand in there, was huge. If he doesn't get his hand in there, Missouri's scoring, and we're talking about Missouri winning the game right now, unless Virginia gets a kick return or Hail Mary of some sort. Huge play by Devin Neal. But yes, he looked very, very good. And Eric, you are 100% correct. Still stings coming short in the ACC championship game. But 11 wins, first time ever, and a Gator Bowl win. Amazing year. 100%. I could not feel more similar to you, Eric. Listen, I got to tell you, man, that ACC championship loss might have been one of the most hurtful losses in my lifetime. I mean, and I'll say this. I said multiple times before the game, and I still stand by it. Even if Virginia loses in the ACC title, I was happy with the season we had. I was happy to beat Virginia Tech. it still stung though. Like it stung. You were that close. You had Duke. That's all you had to get by, and you couldn't get by them. But yes, you have to remember 11 wins, first time ever in program history. Gator Bowl win. That is a great year. 11 wins. You gotta say that again. 11 wins, which is huge, huge. And that Virginia got that, an unbelievable year, an unforgettable year. And you got to wonder what's next. But we have a long off season to talk about that. Just enjoy this win while we're at it, man. That ACC championship game hurt, but I'll say this though about that: if they would have won that game, they would have gone to the playoffs, which would have been insane. But this way, I'm not going to say that this was better than going to the playoffs, but it is very nice to end the season on a good bowl win against a team like Missouri compared to if we went to the playoffs. Now, we could have ended up competing. I think we would have gone against Ole Miss. We could have ended up giving a good battle. I don't know. But chances are we're going to lose that game. We could even get blown out in that game. It's nice to have a good quality bowl win that you haven't had since 2018 against South Carolina in the Belk Bowl, which, by the way, back to back, I guess we lost to Florida in the 2019 Bowl. We keep playing these SEC schools in the bowl games, but 2018 was your last bowl win. And it's important to get that postseason victory. It sucks you didn't get to the playoffs, but you got to be happy. Like it's good to be able to end the season on a win, is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, I would have loved the playoffs, but it's still such a great way to end the season. Hardy definitely checked out. Yeah, after that fourth, 100%, 100%. That was rough. I still can't believe that that wasn't coaching. I mean, coach should have had him in for that fourth down. But that was rough. That's rough. Your team's in pivotal spot, the final bit of the game, and you're not in the game at all. That's unbelievable. Let's see what else we got here. That drive in the whole game was workmanlike. Announcer said it, death by 1,000 cuts. Yes, 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 yes. I think you're referring to that long 19-play drive from Virginia. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. We thank all of you for tuning in here. Keep your comments flowing. Pooch punt. Hey, how about Chandler Morris? I mean, should he have been starting the whole year? I mean, over Sparksy? I mean, no. Pooch punt, hey, I don't hate it. It was a great punt. Got inside the 5, forced them in a terrible position. That was huge. A huge play from Chandler Morris. You love to see that through his face mask, but the reaction we saw, thought it was the right call. I think you're talking about the quarterback going down. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what you're talking about. And yeah, he looked bad. He listen, I'm no medic and I don't really know, but he could have easily, I don't know. I think adrenaline could have carried through that play, but you do have to be safe. These are student lives we're talking about. It just hurts that he led the whole game and he led that whole drive and he didn't get to make that final throw. But as Milo Scott says, what a throw from the true freshman. Seriously. I mean, he put it in there where no one else could get it except Devin Neal got his hand in there. It was about as good of a throw as he could have made there. I agree about the bowl game win 100%. What a dang game. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So Eli Wood making plays and clutch catches. Yes, let's talk about Eli Wood. I was going to get to him as well. Eli Wood, I want to see his final stats here. He finished with 4 receptions, 71 yards. He didn't get a touchdown, but his longest was 35. Man, Eli Wood was good, and I'll tell you about him. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by a couple of other situations here. Man, so he's a senior. He's a listed senior, but he only appeared once in his freshman season. So that could count as a redshirt year. So he could be back next year if he wanted to. I don't know if he will. But man, the last few games, he even got in against that Duke the first time, and he had the huge play against Duke in the ACC championship. He's looked really good. He's gotten a lot of opportunities, and I think he could certainly play a role on this team for another year if he wants to. If Coach Elliott wants him to, I'm sure he'd be happy to have him back. He should be able to come back for at least one more year of eligibility if he wants to, which leads us on, of course, what's going to happen with Chandler Morris. To me, it makes perfect sense if he does get a year of eligibility. Say what you want about his age and whatever. He was injured for that 1 year. He should be able to have that year of eligibility, I think. So, yeah. so much Hunter Renfrow and Eli Wood. He looks just like him, doesn't he? Well, doesn't quite look just like him, but the way he plays, 100%. Yeah. Let's get to a couple other stats here. We thank all of you for tuning in here. The Cavalier Connection. Chandler Morris, again, nothing flashy. 25 for 38, 198 yards, no touchdowns. He was brought down once, his longest pass 35 yards. But again, the third down conversions. Do I have third down conversions here? I think I do. Team stats. I want to look at third downs. We got him. Third down conversions. Here we go. 13 of 23. Slowed down a bit at the end, but 13 third down conversions is huge. And Chandler Morris has a big role in that. At one point, I think he was 7 for 7 on third down. Just him making those plays in the clutch, man. I hope he gets come back for one more year so bad. I mean, say what you want about getting a younger quarterback. Getting to have him back, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So, but a big day for him. Harrison Whaley, the leading rusher for Virginia, 20 rushes, 70 yards. No Jamari Taylor tonight. He had the touchdown. Zay Davis, I mentioned him earlier. 12 rushes for 41 yards. And then 2 yards for Davis Lane Jr., who got in once. Chandler Morris ran 6 times for 13 yards. And then Cole Gear got listed on a rush on that first play of the game or second play of the game, whatever it was, when he was brought down in the backfield. That was rough. That was rough. There was a couple of trick plays in that first quarter that just looked terrible, but you're going to get that with Dez, I guess. you're going to get that. Yeah, he can run routes. He can run routes 100%. He beats his own coverages so well. He's just kind of somebody you don't really look out for on the defense, and he kind of finds threads the needle through the zones. 10 for 10 passing on third downs. I think you're correct, UVA Datskins. I think you are correct. I do get this to a point. I do want to mention this. At this point, it's the last game of the season. Not only are you, trying to win, Dez also wants to see what could potentially work next year. He's kind of testing and experimenting with stuff that he could potentially use next year, I think. So I'm okay with some of it, but at the same time, you want to go win the bowl game. They clearly were not working early. But yeah, 10 for 10 on passing third downs. It's incredible. Receiving Sage Ennis and Cam Ross both had 5 receptions apiece, 35 and 25 yards. Cam Ross had that idiotic play on the punt return that looked like that was going to lose us the game and swing the momentum completely at the end of the half. Went to go try and field the punt, went off his face mask, and Missouri missed the field goal. We really caught a break there. But other than that, Eli Wood, like we just mentioned, 4 receptions, 71 yards. Edrin looked really good. Had a lot of short receptions, 4 receptions, 38 yards, but they're impactful. Multiple of them were for first downs. Harrison Whaley, 3 receptions, 12 yards. And the receptions from John Rogers, Isaiah Robinson had a reception, and Cam Courtney had 1. So that's pretty much all the offensive stats. Will Bettridge missed the 44-yarder. He made 39 and 20, or excuse me, 42. Deshaun Purdy, is that the Wake Forest quarterback? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna double check that. I didn't hear that actually. I'm gonna look. Deshaun Purdy. I'm pretty sure that's the Wake Forest quarterback, or one of them. Is that that is? So Deshaun Purdy. That's hilarious actually, because I know, well, I don't know him, but I used to watch him play. He used to quarterback at Charlotte actually, and then he transferred to Wake. And he got in sometimes. He kind of rotated with Ashby, I think was the other quarterback, or Ashburn. I don't know. Again, my number one option, and we have a whole offseason to talk about this, but my number one option is to bring Chandler back if you can. If you can't, you have Kalen sitting back there, but you're probably going to go in the portal and get somebody for sure. Purdy, I mean, nothing special that I've seen, but he has been developing. I don't know. I mean, he could. We'll have to see. We have a whole offseason to talk about that, like I mentioned, but maybe it was Sage Ennis. Not too sure what you're talking about. Maybe it was Sage Ennis. Not too sure. Let's see what UVA has to say. Whaley never really gashed him, but thought he got what was given to him a couple times. Had a hole tripped up. Yeah. He played well. I think he's a good rotational piece like he was throughout the season. Of course, when he's healthy. I think Taylor was clearly number 1 throughout the year. But uh, Whaley was a good rotational piece to plug in there when Taylor was tired or you want to get a new look in there, as well as Noah Vaughn, who unfortunately we didn't get to see, or Xavier Brown before he went down. A lot of injuries throughout that room throughout the season, but he did well. He got 70 yards. He had the touchdown. He had a couple of big runs for first downs. So again, never really guessed him like you just said. You put it pretty well. Is what it is. I'm gonna get to some defensive numbers really quick for Virginia. That's all I really care about. If I'm being honest, I don't really care about the Mizzou stats. If we're being completely honest, Carney had interception. Oh, I want to mention his name, Corey Costner, the freshman, Corey Costner. What a huge play he made on that fourth down where we talked about it. Hardy wasn't on the field. He was coming off the edge to blitz in a run stopping role, and he dropped back into coverage to cover. I think it was the running back he was covering, which was Roberts. Huge play for him. And then he also finished roller or got him out of bounds to short of the first down marker. Huge play for Costner to drop back into coverage, not continue with the run block or run blitz. Huge. If he doesn't make that heads up play, first down Mizzou, God knows what we're talking about right now. But as far as tackling, I kind of already mentioned some of it. 10 tackles apiece for Devin Neal, Landon Danley. Danley kind of plugging in that Mike linebacker spot for Cam Robinson. Clary had 7. Blatt had 5. 4 for James Jackson, K-Mac. And 3 apiece for Costner, Carnley, and Jason Hammond getting in there. Only tackles for losses, like I mentioned earlier, were Clary and James Jackson. I thought Melton should have had one as well, but not quite. Gavin Shipman. Okay, that took me a minute. I see now. That's you, Nick. Oh man, Nick is somebody I know. It took me a minute. I didn't realize that's who that was. That makes a lot more sense now. That makes a lot more sense. Man, I sound like an idiot then. Shout out to Nick, by the way. Love Nick. Gavin Shipman. Wow. I sounded like an idiot talking about Purdy. Then I was like, I didn't hear no rumors about Purdy. Man, I'm sorry. Taylor was definitely number one option this year at running back. Melton should be back next year. Melton, I got to look at Melton. I don't know about Melton. He is listed as senior. I got to look at, because at Ohio State, he didn't play his first couple of years, so he could potentially be back. I don't know for sure. We're going to check right now, actually. Man, Nick, you had me. I'm not going to lie. Shout out to Nick and Jacob in the chat. That's funny. That is funny. Let's see what I got for Mitch. Give me just a second here. Career. So, yeah, he didn't appear in his first season of Ohio State. So if he wants to be back for a year, he will be. And I really hope he is. Man, he brought such an impact off that edge. Such an impact off that edge. That was incredible. Throughout the entire season. Throughout the entire season was so big. Who said that? Who was talking about Mitchell Melton? That was did somebody comment about Mitch? Oh, yeah, it was Eric. Eric, yeah. He could be back for one more year if he wanted to be, I'm sure. But Campbell just mentioned it. I think that's a good point. He could test draft waters. He's an NFL player for sure. But the thing is, with college ball now, with the way NIL is, because I can tell you, I don't know what he's making, but he's making a bag in the NIL. So I know 100% he can still play college ball and get some good compensation for it. I hope he's back. I don't know if he will be. Man, Purdy leading UVA to the promised land with Biff. All right, Nick. There you go. There you go. If you know, you know. Biff, that's terrible. Biff Purdy. He's got a whole another situation in Michigan that he's got to worry about, Nick. So, Chandler for one more year. He should. I don't know if the NCAA is going to allow it or not. He had the injury that led to Max Dugan winning the Heisman. That should give him an extra year. We'll see. UVA Netskin's great point. Why is the trophy not an alligator? That is a great point. Air Bud. Wow. It was a fun night though. It was a fun night. While it was kind of an ugly score, 14-6 or 13-7. Um, I don't care. Having a win like this over an SEC opponent is huge. It sucks that they couldn't get the ACC. It really does. That hurts my soul. But finishing the season with a win, the season wrapped up exactly the way I think Elliott would have wanted to if he couldn't have the ACC title. Missouri again is a good SEC team. Is a good SEC team. I know they didn't have their starting quarterback, but that's a quality SEC team. They had some very good losses this year. They had a couple really nice wins as well. And ending the season like that is huge. Absolutely huge. And man, you got to applaud Coach Elliott getting this team to 11 wins. They had some donations in the offseason, which was huge, but that takes coaching too. Say what you want about Elliott. That takes coaching to get the team to 11 wins. Some final team stats. UVA finished with 18 first downs to Missouri's 13. Ran the ball 110 yards compared to Missouri's 159. Passed the ball for 198 compared to the 101. Punted the ball. I don't care about that. Possession time. Look at this. Listen to this. Possession time. UVA had 38 minutes and 34 seconds of possession time compared to Missouri's 21 minutes and 26 seconds. That is all from that 19-play drive opening the second half. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I mean, that I'm telling you right now, 19 plays to open up the second half is huge. That is the game changer. As well as Emmanuel Carnley getting that interception after that 19-play drive is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I can't help but smile. There's some shenanigans happening in the chat right now, but 19-play drive leading to Emmanuel Carnley getting the interception. That is a great way to win the middle eight, as Coach Elliott likes to say. He always preaches about the middle eight. Now, they didn't win the first half of the middle eight, but they opened the second half perfectly. 19 plays. Carnley gets an interception. You get a field goal off that. I don't care that you didn't get 6. You got a field goal. That is absolutely huge. Let's get final thoughts from Campbell. Future's bright. We need to rebuild in the portal, but future looks good. Yes, Zay Davis, Montino Williams, and Sakan. John, I think he pronounced it Sakan. We haven't had enough time with him to know for sure. But Zay Davis, man, he looks good out there. And he had a couple rushes earlier in the season too in blowout situations. There's a couple receivers. I know people are going to be hitting the portal too, and Zay Davis could for all we know. I don't know. I'm sure a couple receivers will hit the portal. But Dylan Newton-Short, Isaiah Robinson, Josiah Abdullah, there's a lot to be excited about there. And Sakan John, I mean, there's a lot of young guys in this program right now that look and have some upside. There's some people that'll be back. I think that offensive line is going to get a lot of returners. We're also going to bring in another load in the transfer portal, and we need to because of how crazy the portal is and how crazy the UVA injury bug is, because clearly we just can't stay healthy, especially at offensive line. I'll take a look for Xavier Brown for you right now real quick. I don't think he's going to be able to. But I will say he's had multiple injuries in his career that could lead, to an extra year. I doubt it, though. I'll take a quick look at Xavier Brown here. Brown could end up getting another year. The problem is it's so hard to know. So hard to know who gets another year and who doesn't, because sometimes the NCAA waives, sometimes they don't. And yeah. But overall, just an unbelievably fun season. Again, we're going to break all this down more. Go check out thecavalierconnection.com, as well as the rest of the YouTube channel, The Cavalier Connection, and go follow us on X at GoWho's Podcast. We'll have a lot more coverage. We'll get more reaction to this. Maybe tomorrow night we'll go live. I don't know. And just break down the season. We've got a lot of off-season content on the way to break down more of the roster, more of the roster turnover, because UVA Campbell's right. There's going to be a lot of turnover. A lot of people in their final year are going to need to rebuild through the portal again. But regardless, no matter what happens from here on out, this is an unforgettable season for Virginia football. you finish with 11 wins for the first time in program history. You finished with a bowl win for the first time since 2018. And you beat Virginia Tech. I don't care how stupid that sounds. You beat Virginia Tech. That's huge. You got to an ACC championship, and you beat a quality SEC team in the bowl game. With that being said, that's going to wrap us up tonight. Appreciate all of you for tuning in with me as the Who's get to celebrate against Missouri in the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, finishing them off 13-7, your final score. Shout out Coach Elliott and everybody involved, man. They gave it their all. And shout out everybody in the chat and who's listening with us tonight. I'll give a shout out as well, Nick, Jacob, and Spider Skins. Also getting pretty active. Jeff Lee, Matt Lehman, if you know, you know. That's going to wrap us up tonight. And on to basketball season, I guess. Go Who's.